Hello, I'm Elise Hendrick of Hyperpolyglotting, and I've got something I'm working on that I'd like to tell you about. If you're a Japanese speaker studying Korean, a Korean speaker studying Japanese, or a speaker of neither studying both, you've probably already noticed that there's some words in your target language, whichever it is, that sound rather familiar. It probably hasn't escaped your notice that sonseng and sensei, hakkyo, and gakku sound rather alike. Depending on how far along you are in your studies, you may also be aware that both languages get a significant amount of their vocabulary from Chinese. But what if I were to tell you that if you know the Korean pronunciation of a Chinese loanword that's also used in Japanese, you've got a reasonable chance of guessing the Japanese pronunciation and vice versa. It's true, the shifts in pronunciation between the Korean and Japanese pronunciations of Chinese characters are highly predictable. The same goes for Vietnamese, but I'll leave that to someone whose Vietnamese is much better than mine. This is perhaps not all that shocking, given that the root language of these Chinese loanwords is the same, Chinese. In this course, which I'm offering to my $15 patrons as I create it, and to my $5 patrons once it's finished, we'll look at the most common phonetic shift patterns between Korean and Japanese, moving in both directions so that both Korean speakers learning Japanese and Japanese speakers learning Korean can benefit. In each unit, we'll look at one consonant or vowel sound commonly found in Chinese loanwords in Japanese and Korean, and examine the different ways that sound can shift when moving between the two languages. We'll also look at pitfalls such as kunyomi in Japanese and the South Korean initial consonant rule, tuumpopchi, and how to account for them, as well as some of those times when a word made up of the same Chinese characters does not share the same meaning between the two languages. I'll be uploading at least one unit a month, in English with Japanese and Korean subtitles, in order to cover all of the bases, since this is also for people who don't really speak either language yet, but are learning both of them. If this course sounds like something you'd be interested in, become a $15 patron today. This course is currently in development, and anyone becoming a patron now at the $15 tier will be amongst the very first to see it. That means that you have the opportunity to shape it with me. If there's something you've always wondered about the pronunciations of Chinese loanwords in Japanese or Korean, or something that you've noticed in either language that just doesn't quite make sense to you, I want to hear about it. Your questions will help me make this course more relevant to you.